Welcome to the Packer Mentality Podcast, where I try to keep you up to date and shed a little light on what's happening on and off the field with the Packers. Thank you all for tuning in. Your active participation has been and continues to be vital in transforming this channel into something truly special. Take a moment to subscribe, drop your comments, and connect with me on social media at Packer Mentality. As always, you can locate this podcast on all your favorite podcast platforms. Can I say that this is easily one of my favorite Packers teams ever? I have really loved watching them play over the past few months. The chemistry, especially on offense, is apparent. So many guys clearly love being out there and playing together. I want to give a lot of credit to Aaron Jones, not only for his 4 consecutive 100-yard games since coming back from injury, but also for his leadership and being a great teammate and role model to these young players. Packers fans have gotten to see unprecedented growth and development out of a first-year starting quarterback in Jordan Love, who is playing at an MVP level. No one has been better than Jordan over the past 8 weeks or so. And we also have to give credit to Matt LaFleur, who's adapted his play calling scheme to fit Jordan Love and these young players. Players who have also shown great growth and maturity, starting with Jaden Reed, who showed up from the very beginning, playing at a very high level and great maturity and showing leadership. Dontavian Wicks showing signs that he could be a high-level starter in the NFL. Romeo Doubs continuing his strong performance from last season, showed up this season, continuing to make plays, and seems to always make them when the team needs them. Guys we didn't expect to get a lot of: Malik Heath, Bo Melton, and at tight end, Luke Musgrave making big plays and learning to stay on his feet. Tucker Kraft getting thrust into a starting role with the injury to Luke Musgrave and showing how much his hard work has paid off with his blocking and route running. Sunday was the very first time the offense had all their skill position players available this season. Christian Watson and Luke Musgrave were finally back on the field, and although they didn't put up huge numbers, aside from the Musgrave touchdown catch, this Packers offense scored 48 points. On Saturday night, the Packers will be in San Francisco to take on the number 1 seed 49ers. These two franchises and coaching staffs are very familiar with each other. During the Rodgers era, Green Bay struggled against the 49ers. In some cases, it was the defense that collapsed, but in 2021, it was the offense that could do nothing in the playoffs while the defense played well. And although I hated losing that game and a chance at a Super Bowl, I think it was a great thing from the franchise in the long term. The passing game in 2021, even with Aaron Rodgers playing at an MVP level, was too dependent on Davante Adams. The 49ers exposed the Packers' deficiency on offense in that playoff game by containing Adams. Green Bay's offense really struggled because all of the other Packers receivers and tight ends caught a total of exactly 2 passes in that game. In my opinion, that game should have been the biggest sign that the Packers had to make wholesale changes at wide receiver and tight end. So, in a way, we owe a thank you to the 49ers. And now, 2 years later, those changes will be on display. On Saturday, the 49ers won't be able to key on a single wide receiver. On any given day, any one of 4 or 5 Packer wide receivers could have a huge day. Could be Christian Watson, who's back on the field and hopefully getting closer to 100%. He could blow up. Last Sunday, Romeo Doubs crushed the Cowboys' defense. Jaden Reed has shown that he can have a huge day. Dontavian Wicks could pop off. Or we could just grab a guy off our practice squad, like Bo Melton, and he'll contribute in a big way and have himself a 100-yard game. And oh, by the way, you might have been able to ignore the Packers' tight ends in previous seasons, but this season, Luke Musgrave and Tucker Kraft, those guys can stretch the field, they can make plays, and will command attention from the defense. San Francisco's defense finished the regular season as the second-ranked defense according to Pro Football Focus. They excel at forcing turnovers and finished 5th in the NFL in that category. They are the 3rd best team in rushing the passer, behind the Cowboys with 48 sacks. but they are only the 14th ranked defense against the run. And I believe that number would probably be worse if they weren't always forcing teams to throw to come back in a game. This 49ers defense is led by linebacker Fred Warner. He is elite. There's no question. The Packers will need to account for him. They do not lack for guys who can rush the passer either. They are led by Nick Bosa with 10.5 sacks, Javon Hargrave with 7, Eric Armstead, if he's healthy, he has 5, and they rotate in Chase Young, who they got in a midseason trade with the Commanders. In the secondary, it's a very good secondary. Charvarius Ward leads them with 5 interceptions at cornerback. Their other cornerback, Lenore, he's also pretty solid. Both safeties have also played well. Here's the interesting thing. These guys definitely feast in their wins. In their losses, they're actually not very good. Their football focus scores drop from the 80s and 70s down into the 50s. The 49ers defense has played against only 2 elite quarterbacks in the past 10 games. Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow, both of whom ate them up and beat them. Even Kirk Cousins with the Vikings had a huge day passing against them. The Browns, with PJ Walker at quarterback, they beat them by controlling the ball on the ground and winning the time of possession by 6 minutes. Packers just need to run and continue to use Aaron Jones like they've done for the past month. He's been getting chunks of yards, and because of that, the play action passing game has been working great. There are paths to beat the 49ers, either running or throwing the ball. It just falls on the offense to execute and make plays. I think the Packers offense controlling this game will be the best defense on Saturday night. Win the toss, score right away, hope the defense can get a stop or two in the first half, and just put more pressure on the 49ers offense to have to come back. If the Packers continue to play like they have the past month or so, this team has a chance to pull the upset. How much of a chance will depend on the Packers defense. It will not be easy to stop this 49ers offense. They have an embarrassing amount of weapons. So many that they should be ashamed of themselves anytime they don't score 30 points in a game. Brock Purdy finished the season as the top ranked passer, but he was just behind Jordan Love in touchdown passes with 31. Here's some food for thought. In the 49ers losses that he's played in, Brock Purdy has thrown at least 1 interception. In 3 of the 4 losses, he had multiple interceptions. He does get plenty of help. Christian McCaffrey led the 49ers' 4th-ranked rushing offense and finished as the top rusher in the NFL with over 1,400 yards and 14 touchdowns. The receivers were led by Brandon Ayuk, who had 1,300 yards and 7 touchdowns. His running mate is a familiar name, Deebo Samuels. We know he's a dual threat, and we could see him taking handoffs and running the ball as well. George Kittle is still a very good tight end, and he finished with over 1,000 yards. So, like I said, there are so many weapons on this offense. Up front, Trent Williams is a rock at left tackle, and he remains one of the very best offensive linemen in the NFL. Other than that, their offensive line, not nearly as good. Packers should be able to win up front, and they will need to again this week. We might not hear Preston Smith's name because he'll probably be lined up across from Trent Williams, but I do expect to hear Rashawn Gary's name called a lot. I didn't hear it a lot on Sunday, although I expected it to, so I really need him to step up this week, along with Kenny Clark, Devontae Wyatt, Lucas Van Ness, and Carl Brooks. Joe Barry did a great job the last time these two teams met. He'll need to have another master plan on Saturday. Food for thought. If Joe Barry is able to pull this off, is it enough for us to forgive the garbage we saw during the regular season? I don't think so, but I'm not making those decisions. I do hope that that becomes a problem that we have to talk about for the next few weeks or in a few weeks as the Packers keep winning games. As always, your thoughts and comments are crucial to the conversation and the life of this podcast. So be sure to drop them in the comments section, subscribe, and connect with me on social media. Speaking of which, follow me on Twitter and I will send out injury updates, especially regarding Jair Alexander. Be on the lookout for my reaction episode after the game. Until then, enjoy the game on Saturday night and go Pack Go.